Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, with all eyes focused and dead centered on Judge Kavanaugh and his three-ring circus of accusers that now stand in the way of his confirmation. Google executives has seized up the opportunity to commit crimes so horrible, so disturbing, that they would turn your stomach inside out. What am I talking about? Well, during the same time that Judge Kavanaugh's hearings were taking place, and even really before the hearings were taking place, but all the accusations that you heard on mainstream media, Google was called into Congress for a congressional hearing. It is at this hearing that Google was called to quote unquote testify or talk about their censorship of not only conservatives, but also the fact that they're creating a censored search engine for China that could in the end get many Chinese citizens set into re-education camps and labor camps and ultimately to their death. But this has gone completely ignored by the mainstream media. They're just focused on Kavanaugh. And while Kavanaugh is very important, don't get me wrong, so is also what Google is doing behind the scenes. Now, what I want to do is shed light to that particular hearing. In that hearing, Ted Cruz stood up for the rights of the American citizen. Here is Senator Cruz asking about Project Dragonfly. Take a listen.
It's been reported last month that Google has been secretly developing a search engine for China as part of a project known as Dragonfly. Are those reports accurate?
Senator, thank you for the question. As we've said, I'm aware of those reports. I need to be clear for the record that my understanding is that we are not close to launching a search product in China, and whether we eventually could or would remains unclear.
So Google basically beats around the bush and tells Mr. Cruz, we don't know whether or not we would do that. It isn't clear. Do you hear the contradiction in that statement? I don't know if we would create Project Dragonfly or not. It isn't clear. Really? Well, Ted Cruz pushes them a little further. Take a listen.
Is there a Project Dragonfly? And if there is, what is it?
We have an array of internal projects, and I wouldn't think that it was necessarily appropriate for a privacy conversation to speculate as to what we might be looking at in terms of a product launch in some part of the world.
So he beats around the bush yet again. I don't know anything about a launch that could take place at a later time. Really? So Cruz gets down to the nitty-gritty and asks him straight up. Take a listen.
So you're not answering my question then on Project Dragonfly?
There is a Project Dragonfly.
Oh, my bad. Oops. Yeah, there's the Project Dragonfly. Yeah, we know, because we've been talking about on my channel for quite some time. And what Project Dragonfly is? Well, it's pure evil. But Ted Cruz asked him, well, what exactly is Project Dragonfly? Take a listen.
And it's focused on a search engine in China. Is that accurate?
There is no, we are not close to launching a search product.
You're saying you're not close to launching. I'm asking, is the topic of Project Dragonfly, is it a project to develop a search engine in China? I didn't ask timing of launch. I asked what it is.
Understood. I am not clear on the contours of what is in scope or out of scope for that project, but I can say that if we were close to launching a search product in China, myself and my team would be very actively engaged to ensure that it was going through the appropriate privacy review process and that it was consistent with our privacy values and the commitments that we've made to our users.
So I think he's trying to say, yes, it's a search engine for China. What's so bad about Project Dragonfly? Well, I've talked about this and discussed it on my channel multiple times, but I want to take you back to the Intercept report, the organization who leaked it out to give you a better picture and a reminder of what this evil thing does. Check out this report from the Intercept, put out September 21st of this year. Google suppresses memo revealing plans to closely track search users users in China. Now, this goes on to talk about that the search engine not only assigns a Chinese partner to each user, but it also allows that partner to control what they can and can't see on the internet. It also makes users log on, so each and every single thing that they do, thing that they search on the internet is tracked by their Orwellian counterpart. And if something goes wrong, basically they can turn you in to the communist Chinese government. If you've done something they don't like, for example, you spoke negatively about Xi Jinping, then they can round you up and put you in a labor camp. Yes, labor camp and re-education camps exist in China. I've showed it on my channel multiple times. So what Google is doing here is teaming up with a communist, tyrannical dictator who rounds up journalists, kills Falun Gong religion, kills Muslims, kills Christians, any who don't follow their regime, okay, puts them in re-education camps. And so Google has decided, I will make Dragonfly for you, communist China, in which assigns a partner for every single one of your citizens to track everything they say, do, and see. That way, there's somebody speaking straight to you, Chinese government, and if you decide, like they did in Germany, to round up Jews or round up Christians or round up whoever you are, then they'll do that. They're already doing that. And who gave them the technology? Google. Don't worry, Google got a big fat paycheck for that, I'm sure. And my stomach is so sick knowing that they sold themselves for money and then cared not for the lives of those Chinese citizens who get caught in the crosshairs of the communist regime. That should horrify everyone that Google is even doing that, and they've admitted to doing that. They're saying it's in the process. Why even begin a process like that? I'm unsure. But don't worry, it'll never happen here. It's not like they're censoring any specific political group. Take a listen to Ted Cruz's next question.
All right, we're having a problem with answering the question. I asked if Google assesses this question. If you studied, I can tell you millions of Americans, I can tell you millions of Texans believe that big tech companies are actively censoring the speech of American citizens and are silencing the voices of conservatives. One of the frustrating things about this issue is there's almost no transparency. There are almost no public data to assess if that's accurate or not. So my question is Google analyzing the question? Is Google actually looking, not your own personal experiences searching, but are you assessing it empirically? Upon what data do you make testimony in this committee that Google is not favoring in its search results one party over another or one candidate over another?
As the Chief Privacy Officer of Google, this is not within my core domain, so I can only speak to my own experience and the things that are my responsibilities within the organization.
You know what I didn't tell you? Is that was Ted Cruz's third time asking Google if they censor conservatives. And he did what he did the entire thing, beat around the bush, beat around the bush, beat around the bush. So Cruz asks a fourth time. Take a listen.
Okay, I'm going to try just one more time. Are you aware of any efforts of Google to assess whether search results have a political bias? Don't give me a statement they don't have a bias. Are you aware of efforts to actually empirically assess and determine it?
As Chief Privacy Officer of Google, I am not aware of such efforts.
Still no answer. He just beats around the bush and says, well, from my personal experience, I've never seen that before. Liar. Liar, liar, lying to our congressman straight up. I know this because I am on the front lines of the attack. Yes, they delist news channels on purpose. I saw the changes in numbers. I've seen the changes in multiple other friends who I network with. It's happening to all of us and it's happening everywhere. The censorship of conservatives is huge and it's going ignored by multiple media outlets. What's going on with Kavanaugh is very important, and I say confirm him now. But at the same time, is it coincidental that around the same time as Kavanaugh, they have the hearing, a congressional hearing with Google executives there talking about the censorship of conservatives, but no one says anything because everyone got eyes in one place. They need to be in both. And we need to bring this front and center. And I want to say thank you, Senator Cruz, for standing up for what's right and asking the right question. Don't forget to check out my partner at hidewithlisa.com with Virtual Shield, a VPN. You want to go unnoticed and kind of more go incognito on the internet? Check them out in the description box below. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.